This is a proof why you should have antivirus on Linux. I was recently helping a startup, and while working on a project, we needed to gather some metrics and display them in Grafana. As the data was in tabular format, we chose to use PostgreSQL database. We installed the default package in Ubuntu and proceeded to Grafana. Aiming for simplicity during our first time installation, we opted to not use SSL and retain the default password, with our reasoning being that the worst case scenario would involve someone reading the unclassified data from our database. Because we didn't really know from which IP Grafana would try to access the database, we opened Postgre to all IPs. We then successfully tested our metrics, and because the data was non-confidential, we shifted our focus to higher priority tasks, leaving Postgre exposed to all IPs with the default password. Sorry, this just seems so stupid now. Anyway, later that day, a monitoring bot alerted me to high CPU usage on our server. I just assumed that multiple employees were working on it at the same time and dismissed the issue as unimportant. However, the next day, while working on the server myself, I noticed it being abnormally unresponsive, and upon examining the system, I found out that numerous PostgreSQL threads were running and slowing down the system. Being inexperienced with the database, I thought it was performing some routine tasks and just killed the process and shut down the database. However, it didn't help, so I opened up the system monitoring once again, and to my surprise, I found out the same process running and causing issues.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
So I googled up the name, and it turned out to be a Monero crypto miner. At this point, it was kind of obvious that we were hacked, but it wasn't really the miner that worried me the most. I was afraid someone got system-wide access to our server, which would mean I'd had to set it up from scratch. But first things first, I had to deal with the miner. And because peasant moves like killing it and deleting its files did pretty much nothing to it, I headed back to Google. And after some time, I found out that it had created a cron job to re-download and launch itself back again. And removing this task did solve the miner issue, however, I still had to find out if there was something else lurking on our server. Fortunately, the virus did not delete the Postgre logs, which allowed me to trace the source of the intrusion and locate the original payload, from which I got an understanding of the damage dealt and how to kill the rest of the malware. Lucky for me, the overall damage of the script was heavily restricted by Postgre users' privileges, but if that wasn't the case, it could have caused problems such as leaking files, turning the server into a virus-spreading host, enabling GPU mining, accessing passwords or key files of all users, and if it wasn't already enough, remaining practically impossible to clear from the system. This is my first hands-on experience with a Linux malware. Luckily, it caused more stress than damage, but it could have been much worse. And it reminded me that one misstep is always enough. I mean, I've worked really hard to keep our servers secure, set firewall rules, enable SSH, use strong passwords, and so on and so forth. But as soon as I got lazy, we got hacked literally the same day. So change your password. Do it now. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you would like me to make a more detailed video, there's the comment section for ya. I just didn't want to make this one too technical. And if you have any comments or suggestions for new video topics, leave them down below and see ya!